Good morning. I'm here with,
Bear from the internet.
I'm Kyle, not of the internet.
Yet. We're working on it.
Hey, just want to talk to you guys. If you're ever in a situation like we have here or any disaster, just really want to talk about how the process works to get the assistance started from FEMA or the federal government or your insurance. Uh, so, what tornado comes through, hurricane comes through, wipes you out. The first thing you need to do if you have insurance is contact your insurance provider so they can start a claim and start adjust your direction to inspect the damage. That might take a few days to get those folks, depending on the scope of the disaster, or longer. Uh, the other thing you need to do is take pictures and document everything in your home.
Pictures, videos, do a walkthrough with your phone, video everything, and talk while you're doing it. The car used to be here. This was my grandma's piano, my favorite rug. Walk through and do an explainer video because that can get turned over to both FEMA, don't even get me started on them, but FEMA and your insurance adjusters.
Yep. If you don't have insurance, your best bet for financial assistance will be FEMA in the long run. Uh, the reason for that is they have programs for public assistance and individual assistance. Public assistance is anything tax dollars go to pay for. Individual assistance is to the individual like you, the homeowner. Uh, there's a lot of different programs, and every disaster is different as far as what program gets activated for that disaster or not. So your mileage may vary. And that's where I think a lot of these stories come from of these people that have bad dealings. Just different programs might not get activated during a storm, and they don't have access to some of the things that they've heard about, which is unfortunate. But it is our tax dollars that go to pay for that, and we just print money out of thin air. But at the same time, we have to be able to pay for that stuff as a government in long term.
Is this for the Grindstone channel? You could also sneak across the southern border and then sneak back across and get a whole bunch of SNAP benefits and get a mortgage and like a free house, education, free medical care.
Yeah.
So that's always an option. You know, if your stuff got destroyed in the storm, just go to Mexico, turn around and come back, because FEMA seems really good at that these days. So that's always an option for you as well.
I guess that's an option.
Yeah, that's what's up, my Orcas. You're killing it. You're doing a great job. You can move to Ukraine. You can move to Israel, Lebanon. Where else? Any other country in the world, because there's tons of tax dollars going over there. So you might consider that as well. Yeah, just whatever.
It is an unfortunate situation.
I love you, bro. I'm really trying to keep it under wraps right now. I'm trying to be professional. But
he feels me shooting all the daggers at him at the moment.
What does my shirt say?
Yeah, right.
It's only treason if you lose. Sorry.
There you go. The winning team survives and writes history, right? So
that's correct. Executive director, president. We have a love-hate relation. I love him. He loves to hate me. It's great. He wants me to be really well behaved on camera, and I want to wrap my hands around people's throats. And he keeps me sane.
I don't blame him for that.
And I make his life interesting.
Yeah.
So
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's why this works for us.
What else?
So back to how to document and everything. The other thing you need to have on file, and we put a video up on this a while back, is all the documents you should have on hand in a safe place, and multiple copies of those documents in a separate location. So if those are gone in the event of a fire or anything like that, where those you can't find them, you have access to at least copies, whether digitally or in paper, and I recommend both.
Yep, and copies of birth certificates, driver's licenses, social security numbers, because it's really hard to get a driver's license or an ID without a social security number, social security card. It's really hard to get a social security card without a driver's license.
Yep.
It's a mess.
It's a loop.
It is.
Yep.
It's an absolute. That happened to me one time. It took me a year to get my driver's license, birth certificate, and social security card.
Yep.
And I'm a fairly competent adult male, and it took me a year. fairly competent. By the way, that chainsaw over there sounds terrible. I got to go fix that in a minute. Yeah, it does. Please be
Squirrel.
please be the responsible adult in the room. What else should they do, Kyle? Tell them.
So the I got thrown off the saw work. I just want to go run a chainsaw.
That was not a steal. I could tell you that. Sounded like an echo.
All right, so copy your documents, have them in a separate location. The other thing I highly recommend, in the days of smartphones and access to the internet, write down every phone number you could possibly ever need.
Yep.
Because even though I have a Rolodex in my head of phone numbers, which is my superpower, most people don't. So write those numbers down. Write them, put them in a spreadsheet, print it off, have multiple locations of all of that. Keep that contact list in your car. Keep that contact list in a backpack. Keep that contact list at your neighbor's house or somewhere else. That way you have all of those contacts to talk to. People are looking for you, and you need to be able to reach out and find them if something happens and you're displaced and there's no communication like here in Eastern Tennessee and the Western Carolinas. The other thing that I would highly recommend, and this might be outside the scope of this video for what we're talking about, but in this particular case proves the point. If you are not a ham and you are at least interested, become a ham, because that is the only communication that's possible here at this time other than satellite.
I would also add to that, if you are a ham, this is an emergency situation. Help people, teach people, don't be a gatekeeper.
Don't be a gatekeeper.
Don't be a gatekeeper.
Yep.
Love your neighbor as yourself. You got a cool hobby. Right now, we got to save lives.
Yep.
It's not hobby time anymore. We got to save lives. So don't be a gatekeeper. This is an emergency situation. And if you're out there and you have access to a handheld transceiver or something like that and you're not a ham, this is an emergency situation. Use it. We'll worry about FCC licensing later. I think it's section 97 of the code that says in an emergency situation, if you don't have the licensure, you can still broadcast.
Yep.
So broadcast if you need to. Then you can get your license later.
For a life safety reason, right?
Life, limb, property.
Yep.
Life, limb, property, you can broadcast. Don't get on there and talk. That's another thing, hammies. I love y'all, but keep the airwaves clear, please and thank you. Jacking your jaw in an emergency situation when there might only be one repeater up in 3 counties. No, keep the airwaves clear so that we can commo.
Yep. It's very important.
Yep.
So that's how we depend on how we're active here. We're tied in with another group called Emron that's supporting us with our hams.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is my name too.
I need some levity. I like the levity.
Bro.
Bring it.
I need a D9 dozer, barge, a case of whiskey. What else? What else we need, Steven? I'm just messing. I'm not messing about the D9s.
We'll throw this out there in this video. Thank y'all for all the morale packages that keep appearing via Instacart.
Appreciate y'all.
It's amazing.
Bear Nation and Grindstone.
Yeah.
You guys and girls are amazing.
Absolutely.
I don't know what else to add.
Documents.
Yep.
Phone list.
Emergency binder.
Emergency binder.
Multiple copies.
Yep.
Not just in the house, one in the car, one at the office, one someplace safe, maybe at the neighbor's house or grandma's house, because you might end up like the Mayfield, Kentucky fire department, where their emergency binder was in the fire department, then it got destroyed in the tornado, and then nobody knew what to do and they had no contact. So make multiple copies of that, and then your insurance information, copies of your ID, copies of your deeds, your titles, all of that goes in there. Emergency contact information, medical history, all those things.
Medication list.
Yep. And gosh, have some, if you can, have a little bit of inventory, a little bit of backstock of critical medications. If you're on a prescription medication that you can't live without, just keep a little bit back, because if something like this happens, where there's going to be an interruption in services for 7, 14, 28 days, you're not going to expire. You've got some headroom.
Yep. And we're just getting, so we're 7 days in here, and or 8 days in.
9.
9? I'm 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. Okay. We're 9 days in post-disaster. We're just now going to be getting into those follow-on effects.
Yep.
Of the pop-up of the things that need antibiotics, the running out of your insulin, stuff like that.
Yep.
So we'll start seeing those follow-on effect injuries as we progress into this week, which, y'all willing, folks are there to help support that stuff. And the outpouring of everything that's going up into these mountains
Yep.
is just incredible. I don't know if you guys can see behind me some of the stuff that showed up here over the weekend, but it is absolutely overrunning with love and support. The one thing I would say to that is pay attention to the updated needs list
Yep.
and really watch all of that because it's going to evolve daily. So make sure you have the most recent.
And the Amazon list is being updated
Yep.
multiple times per day. So if you guys and girls hop on there and you see everything's been purchased already, check back
Yep.
later that evening or the next day because it's constantly being repopulated with stuff.
Which I'm sure we'll have our own Amazon semi delivery today.
Yeah.
So thank you all, Bear Nation, Grindstone,
Yep.
and all of the folks that are sharing out everything out there. I think that pretty much wraps up this video,
Yeah.
and we'll hit another one.
Our God is God.
Our God is God. Amen. That's a good word.